Good afternoon, Internet, and welcome back to a special presentation of Homebrew Studio this particular Saturday as we continue our mystery in the town of Evan Eves in this game of Tremulus. For those of you who missed the last time, Tremulus is a powered by the Apocalypse RPG system focusing on tales of eldritch horror and those sort of mystery adventures. We are picking up where we left off last time, but before we get into the story, let's do some quick introductions. If you don't know me, my name is Matthew. My pronouns are he, him. You can always find me on Twitter at Matthew A. Siebert. You can also find me here on Thursdays as the host of No Brainer Trivia at 6 p.m. We do some fun bar-style trivia with a rotating cast of contestants. On Saturdays, I usually host Homebrew Studio, which you can find the VODs either here on Twitch or on our YouTube page. And you can also find me as the Dungeon Master of the Land Above podcast if you head over to nerdsmith.org and check that out. So, players, why don't you introduce yourselves as well? Remind people what characters you're playing, and also remind us of the current health and mental status of your character from last week. And let's start with Angela.
So hi, my name is Angela. My pronouns are she, her, and I am playing Harlow. She is the sensitive. She's known for being able to do seances and otherwise commune with the spirit realm or the forces beyond. And she's not doing great. What are the stats you wanted us to share?
Your health and mental status.
My health is fine. Physically, I'm fine. Mentally, I'm not great. I'm about halfway down the shock rating. I have seen she's seen some shit already, so uh, she's recovering from that slowly.
All right. And next to you, Rev, please reintroduce yourself and your character.
Hello, I am Rev. I use he, him pronouns. And you can find me at the Crit Show podcast. I am the producer and GM of the Crit Show, where we play Monster of the Week and other powered by the Apocalypse games under the same dimension hopping narrative. And I am playing Elijah, and they are the Affluent. And they're not in quite as bad of a shape as Harlow. They are at a 2 with their sanity, but their health is spot on, but they've seen some things that have reminded them of the past in a very uncomfortable way.
All right. Now let's go to Tessa. Please remind us who you are and who you're playing.
Hello, everyone. I am Tessa. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Marguerite, the alienist, who also uses she, her pronouns, and she's actually doing fairly okay. She is currently undamaged. She has no health damage. She's only maintained a little bit of startledness. She's used to seeing strange things, being a psychologist, so she's able to, root her mind just a little bit more effectively than perhaps her compatriots. And that is me.
Awesome. And finally, Jay, please introduce yourself and your character.
Hi, I'm Jay. I use he and they pronouns. I'm an artist at Nerdsmith, contributing artist at Nerdsmith. I'm playing Robin, who uses he, him pronouns. Also physically healthy. I am also not doing good sanity wise. I am currently disturbed by Elijah's childhood.
All right. Well, just as a reminder from last week, the version of Tremulus we are playing has been homebrewed to some extent, in that we also have some homebrewed playbooks the players are using in place of the standard ones that come with the game. And I'm also hacking the rules a little bit, so you'll see that as we get into play. So, last time, the four of you found yourselves coming to the small, somewhat remote town of Ebon Eves, all riding in the same train carriage on your way here for a celebration that you had been invited to, a soiree celebrating the 99th anniversary of the town's founding, and the person who had invited you was one Mabel Pemberton, a very wealthy and well-to-do matriarch of the Pemberton estate, located in Ebon Eves, who had invited all of you to come join for the festivities. You arrived in Ebon Eves. You took a brief respite at a local tea house where you learned some local gossip regarding one Samuel Pemberton, one of the Pemberton estate, who is known to be a bit of a troublemaker and a bit of a black sheep of the family. You then, on your way to finding your lodgings at the boarding house run by, or the bed and breakfast, rather. Boarding house sounds different. A bed and breakfast run by the widow Borga, were a little surprised at the sound of an explosion and saw at one of the nearby houses piece of the roof being blown off and this strange purple-colored smoke rising up out of the hole. You went to investigate, and while Marguerite met with the seeming owner of the house, a wild-eyed woman dressed in sort of the garb of a scientist who engaged her in certain questions about her scientific know-how, Harlow decided to climb into the room where the explosion had happened, what seemed to be something of a laboratory where some manner of experiments was occurring, and while there, Harlow uncovered a strange and unusual mirror, the silver mirror that, upon gazing into, her reflection changed and warped in strange and disturbing ways. Harlow very quickly exited the room before being caught, and the four of you made your way away from this house, learning from one of the other residents of town that this is the home of one Winnie Butler, a 9 times widow who is known to be somewhat strange and eccentric and unusual, and the other people of the town don't care much to associate with her. You then went to your B&B, you found your rooms, met with the widow Borga, who was not much of a conversationalist, despite Elijah's attempts to get her to open up. You rested and found yourselves being invited up to the Pemberton estate by Madame Pemberton herself. You were introduced to the Madame Pemberton and her husband John. Madame Pemberton seemed to display a certain interest in Harlow's abilities as a medium. Her husband was far more dismissive, and asked if Harlow would be willing to give a presentation or performance at the gala the following evening, which Harlow graciously agreed to. You were given a tour of the Pemberton estate, and then taken back down into town, where you rested over the course of the evening. Oh, I forgot, you did also stop at a curio shop, where Robin found a fine coat that had armor stitched into the interior lining. Elijah also found an old model sort of automatic rifle Tommy gun type weapon, and so you have both of those now in your inventories. The following evening, you attended the gala at the Pemberton estate, a grand ball in full sway as you mingled amongst the various guests in attendance. At one point, Madame Pemberton approached you, Harlow, to ask you if you would be willing to retire to a private room for a reading. You did so, Marguerite joining a small group of very fine, well-to-do ladies and Madame Pemberton, as you probed the spirits for some answers. The spirits were not particularly forthcoming, though, in their responses, being very cagey, very unsettled almost. And when Marguerite's turn came to ask a question, Harlow, you found the spirits quite perturbed and upset, even, at the nature of her question. Meanwhile, in the ballroom, Elijah had a brisk encounter with a gentleman you believe to be Samuel Pemberton, based on his resemblance to the other members of the Pemberton family, which involved you splashing champagne all over your person. The attendants came and immediately tried to assist you, escorting you to the fainting closet off to the side, and making a show trying to get you cleaned up. Meanwhile, you noticed a strange chest just hidden behind the fainting sofa, and as your back was turned to it, you thought you heard this scratching sound almost. And once you turned back, you just saw the lid seem to close all on its own. Distressed by this, you made your way out of the room very quickly and kept a close eye on it thereafter, whereas later in the evening you saw another one of the guests, a woman who seemed to be in the throes of a fainting spell, being escorted in. And when you and Robin as well, I think, perhaps, peeked in, you noticed that the woman was being accosted by some manner of entity or force, this amorphous sort of entity that even looking at it pained your eyes. You couldn't even stare at it long enough to get the exact dimensions or understanding of its being. You just saw it accosting this woman in much the same way that you saw a similar type entity accosting your father many, many years ago. Shortly thereafter, there was a power outage that left the entire estate in darkness. Robin, having a flashlight at hand, was able to keep himself and Elijah from getting hurt in the panic that ensued. Marguerite and Harlow, making their way back to the ballroom during the power outage, heard a strange scratching sound, this following them down the hallway, and as the lights came back on, they turned just in time to see a door to an adjacent room closing. Not satisfied with simply walking away, they decided to indulge their curiosity, looking within this room and finding John Pemberton standing there, looking somewhat put out or a little dismissive, not seeming to want to have much to do with them. And they returned to the ballroom, meeting up with Robin and Elijah, and the four of them decided it would be best to leave the premises as quickly as possible. You retrieved your belongings from the coat room, you climbed into the carriage, and were returned to Madame Borga's bed and breakfast, where, as you slept that evening, a long, thin beak-like protrusion briefly appeared at Elijah's window and tapped on the glass a few times before withdrawing. That is where we left off last time. So, the following morning comes, and you arise. Who do you believe among you would be the earliest riser?
Not Harlow. She used up enough emotional labor last night. She's tired.
Marguerite probably gets up fairly early. She's used to running her own business and being someone who does a lot of research in her off time, so I imagine that she utilizes every hour that she possibly can.
Okay, so Marguerite, you are up early and preparing yourself. As you leave your room, you notice that the entirety of the house is quite quiet.
She's gonna kind of look around and make her way downstairs to the kitchen/parlor area where Widow Borga had been, and just kind of poke in her head to see if the widow is up and about.
Okay. It's still slightly before breakfast would be served this morning, but looking about, you don't see her in the parlor. You would expect to find her in the kitchen getting things prepared, but she's not there either.
She kind of calls quietly. Hello? Good morning? Hello?
Your words softly echo through the halls. There's no response.
I am going to... Were we given kind of free range of the kitchen or anything to, like, make tea or anything if we needed to? Or was it kind of an understanding of, like, do not enter, do not make yourself coffee, etc.?
Have you asked specifically?
I have not asked specifically, so...
Then you don't know.
Then in that case, she is going to take her journal and start flipping through it and try and see if there's any sort of information that she can find in it about maybe what was happening last night. I don't know if this counts as my gear of scholarly contact. Since my journal did belong to a scholar friend of mine, I was wondering if maybe I could try and find any clues in there as to what last night might have been about.
I will say go ahead and roll to puzzle things out. So roll plus reason.
Excellent. Plus reason. What is my reason? There we go. Okay. That is a 9.
A 9, which is a partial success. So you can ask one question, such as, what is this? What does this mean? How can I get in, out, or pass? Who is in control? What before me is the most dangerous? What is its weakness? What should I keep an eye out for? How does X fit into Y? Or another such question of your choosing. So what is it Margaret is trying to discern about recent events in Ebenezer?
What she really wants to do is try and figure out what this is. What could be causing this phenomena? What could have been making that sound?
You would think, and this isn't so much something that comes from your journal, but based on the conversations you had with Robin and Elijah the evening prior, you think whatever they saw probably was making that sound from the night before. So there was something unusual, supernatural, preternatural moving about in that house.
With all of the 9-pointed stars in that journal, and the themes of 9 that keep popping up, is there anything that seems significant that kind of supernatural creature could be associated with that number that I know of?
I will say this, then, as you are consulting the journal and looking through and seeing this repeated symbol, this 9-pointed star, amidst the almost mad ramblings that are littered throughout the journal, you happen to glance up from the table that you are sitting at, and on the wall there is a framed map of the area around Ebon Eves. And it looks like an old, very old hand-drawn map of, like, you know, maybe some of the first explorers to come through this area and document the landscape. And you notice that in the area surrounding Ebon Eves, there are 9 distinct mountain peaks that just frame the entire area around it.
Okay. When I kind of like trace it, would it be a star?
You think you could, yeah, as you go over it, you could trace it into the point of a 9-point star, and the town of Ebon Eves is perfectly in the center of it.
I'm going to flip to an unmarked on page in the journal and start. This is the first time she's done that. Of this journal that she's kept from her colleague. She's never written in it herself. She's, made notations on slips of paper and put it in. But she actually starts writing in it for the first time and begins to do a quick sketch of the map and doing the star and then tracing out and then writing out what she's found, because she wants to consult with Harlow, Elijah, and Robin when they wake.
Okay. As you're doing this, I would say somebody else wakes up. Who would be the next to awaken this morning?
I don't know that I slept all that well. I think that when we see Elijah in their bed, they are kind of cuddling the unloaded Chesterton machine gun with the container of bullets at the foot of the bed. So hearing someone else moving around, I would get up and probably in my pajamas drop the bullet thing like into the pant leg and go out with the machine gun, just looking around.
All right, so you come downstairs in your pajamas, wielding this automatic weapon, and you see Marguerite feverishly writing down notes in a journal. but no sign of the Widow Borga.
Well, where is our chatty friend at?
Oh, good morning. I have not seen hide nor hair of the good proprietress. Are you alright? You look quite, rumpled. Would you like to sit?
Yes, this is accessorizing at the peak of fashion.
I'll have to
I
make a
thought-
note.
Yes. And I will actually kind of take a sidestep and look through the not the lounge, but where I tried to have a conversation with her before to see if she's there.
Okay, you glance in there. No one's there. The fire is currently unlit in the fireplace.
You had a bit of a rough evening.
Yes, just the things that I described to you on the ride back. I swear that I could hear that sound in my sleep. The scuffing, the scratching, whatever it was.
Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I suppose that it might not be the worst thing to discuss the psyche and the perhaps perceived trauma that I realize was not an image layered in, considering that Robin saw it as well.
All right. She
But
puts the pen in the journal and closes it and kind of turns and crosses her leg and just immediately in therapist mode.
I have spent the entirety of my life convincing myself that that night didn't happen. That it was simply a trick of the mind, that I had seen him doing something worse or at least realistic, and that was what my brain came up with. Why a different man walked into my house and raised me for the next few years. But I'll never forget that sensation. It hurt to look upon it, and Marguerite, I swear to you, the thing last night, it was the same thing, if not the same breed of thing.
I believe you. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up.
Well, just a few miles south of the train station where we all met. It was in a mountainous area, surrounded by some beautiful trees, some high peaks, and some valleys as well, in a kind of a rolling hills.
Any particular range of mountains around the area?
Oh yes, there were quite a few, maybe 5 or 6 different ranges that people would go to climb or vacation. They were all visible from our house. It was quite beautiful. People would come and paint on our balcony to see the landscape and try to capture it.
I don't suppose... it would probably be difficult to try and get a hold of one of those paintings to see the vista, by any chance.
Yes, I don't think I could. We'd have to go all the way back home. There were a few hanging inside.
After all of this, I'm sure you're feeling a bit on edge. Is there anything I can do to help? Would you like me to perhaps help you relax a little bit, or
I guess if you have some manner to help me relax. I don't believe I slept particularly well, and simply knowing that someone believes me is a weight off of my shoulders.
I absolutely do believe you 100%. And I think that you coming to terms with what you saw is a good step in beginning to heal. I do have a number of sedatives or prescription-based medications that could be of help to you if you would like.
Well, wouldn't say that I wouldn't like one, but I do want to stay clear-headed. I don't think I'm going to feel quite like relaxing until I am on a train a few miles away from here.
Understandable. Would you like me to give you one so you can have it on your person in case something goes awry?
Yes. Yes, I think just even the knowledge that I could take it if I wanted to would be nice.
Excellent. I will go fetch it. Matthew, I want to use my special move of therapy to reduce Elijah's shock by 1 level.
Okay, so how much stock do you have at the moment?
I currently have 4.
Okay, so roll and add 4.
That is a 12.
All right, so Elijah, your shock is reduced by 1, and your stock is now 3, Marguerite.
Yeah, I think there's just a visible change in Elijah as they get handed the pill and the realization of clutching to this metal monstrosity. I think I will go put myself together. I will see you in just a few moments. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. The second he leaves, I'm looking to see if there's any sort of atlas of where he grew up so I can check the mountain ranges around it to see how many peaks were around his house.
Poke around, roll plus luck.
Uh, 11.
As it happens, yes, in the library there is an atlas of the area where Elijah grew up, and you start flipping through it and looking at the various mountain ranges in the area. As you do, the clock in the hall strikes 7.
Okay.
What you know is when breakfast should be being served right now. I think, Robin, the sound of the clock chiming stirs you from your sleep as well. So as you awaken, what would you like to do?
I'll get ready for the day with my coat and everything, just in case, and head out to see if breakfast is ready.
Right. You come out, you see Marguerite poring over a book in the library, and you look, and the dining room is empty. Kitchen is empty, breakfast has not been prepared, and you do not see the Widow Borga anywhere.
Hey, did anyone see Miss Borga?
Oh, no, I can't say that I have seen her. Was that the clock striking 7?
Yes.
Perhaps we should go check on our host. Make sure she's all right.
Yeah.
Matthew, is there any particular number of mountains around the town where he's in that I can see or no?
There are several labeled. It's a much more extensive map than the one that was on the wall, so you could try to start matching them up, but there's a lot of them, a lot more than 9.
Okay, so I'll work on that later. I'll make a mental note to go back to it and then follow Robin up to go check on the Widow Borga.
Yeah.
Okay. The widow's room, you know, is on the first floor. It's across the hall from Robin's room. So you go. The door is currently closed. Though as you approach, you feel a cool draft from under the door.
I'm going to knock first.
Okay. You knock on the door.
Yeah.
You don't hear an answer from inside.
Hello? Gonna look back at if anyone came with me. I don't know if anyone did.
Yeah, Marguerite is next to you.
Shrug. Should we open the door? I just lean close to try to hear if there's any movement inside.
listen very closely. Don't hear anything.
Miss Borga, are you all right? Knock, knock, knock.
No response. You feel another cool breeze pushing out under the crack under the door.
I'm gonna try the doorknob and see if it opens.
Okay, the door is not locked. It opens. How far are you just cracking it open? Are you pushing it open?
I'm gonna crack it, and if I can't like see in an immediate like somebody getting dressed or something like that, then I will push it open a little bit further.
Okay. You open the door. You don't see anything immediately, so you ease it open, and as you open it wider to take in the room inside, you immediately lock eyes with the Widow Borga, who is laying in bed, her head turned towards the door, her mouth open, and you just hear this very soft, raspy, shallow breathing. You see her skin is pale white, almost as pale as the bedclothes, and the room is chilly, cold. You see one of the windows is partially open. It's letting in the cool morning air. She's just lying there weakly in bed.
Oh my, are you all right? She's gonna rush in to pulse fever, or are you sick? Are you okay? Kind of.
Okay. Sure. She is very, very weak. And her body is very cool to the touch. Very pale as well. As you are sort of examining her, you notice that there appears to be a large bruise mark on just above her collarbone.
You see, she has blades in her collar.
Robin, can you
Yes.
go into the kitchen, make some tea, a little bit strong, and some toast. We should get her something restorative.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna turn around to go start doing that.
Check on Harlow as well, please. Make sure she's all right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I'm gonna go close the window and bring covers up over her to try and start warming her up if she's cold to the touch.
Okay. You do that.
What happened?
Robin,
is she responsive at all, or no?
you get the sense that she tries to talk to you a couple times. There's this sort of croaky raspiness,
Okay.
but she has so little breath and seems so weak she can't form words.
Just rest. We're going to get you okay.
Robin, you've been asked to make tea and check on Harlow. Which would you like to do first?
Start the water, put the water on spoil, and then go up to check on Harlow while that's going.
Okay. You get to Harlow's door.
Knock.
Harlow, you're awoken by a knocking sound at your door.
Robin, you just hear, yeah.
Something has happened. Are you all right?
Is everything in its place in my room? Seems so. She's still in her suit. She just kind of completely crashed. So she gets up and she's like trying to straighten things as she opens the door with a crack. What happened?
I don't know exactly, but there's something wrong with the widow.
Like old person wrong or not, or something else?
Something else.
Okay.
Marguerite's with her right now.
Okay. Harlow goes to grab her bag just out of habit and follows Robin.
Okay.
Still.
At this time, Elijah, you've also finished dressing yourself appropriately. Does anyone think to perhaps try and get a doctor of any measure, or are you going to try and treat the widow with tea?
That was going to be my next request, was to have somebody get a doctor, since I can't physically help her. But I didn't want to like issue more orders. But yeah.
It seems like she wants to talk it out.
Okay.
At all.
Yeah, no, she doesn't want to talk to me about this. I don't know why.
All right. Well, you do, I guess, get a hold of the neighbors. They call a doctor. A doctor comes as quickly as possible to examine the widow. And after, thank you, Franz. Um, excuse me. After about another hour or so, as the doctor's examination completes, the doctor who comes out, her name is Nori Yakagama. She comes out and addresses the four of you and says, the widow seems to have lost a lot of blood in the night. Did any of you see anything that may have happened to anyone who came into the house, may have attacked her?
Harlow just starts looking around the room, like on the floor and stuff. If she was attacked, where's the blood?
That is a very good question.
Wonderful.
She seemed to have a strange bruise above her collarbone that may have been a puncture
Yes,
site.
I believe that was the puncture wound, yes, that led to her blood loss.
If it's giant mosquitoes,
Do you
Matthew,
have
I'm very
anything
upset.
native to the area that
Um,
that likes blood? Something that could have gotten in through her window? Are there bats or enormous mosquitoes here or something?
Not that enormous, no.
Well, I didn't see anything.
No, I was out all night. Unconscious out all night.
Yes, well, I've called the constable. They should be here shortly. I imagine they might have questions for all of you.
Of course, of course. Will she recover?
At this point, it's hard to say. She lost an awful lot of blood. I will see if there's anyone in town fit for transfusion, but I do not know at this point.
Has there ever been anything like this happen here in this town before?
Not that I can remember, and I've been here almost 60 years.
Very strange. Thank you.
Oh, weird. Franz is saying I'm getting some kind of audio delay. I'm not sure what's up with that. And it fixed itself. Hooray! So, a few minutes later, the constable arrives. A couple of constables arrive, actually, and start taking in everything that's going on. They question each of you individually. I'm assuming none of you tell anything but the truth. If you have any lies you would like to tell them, by all means, let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to assume you just tell them the truth, that you were all asleep and you don't know what might have happened. And they will kind of just let it go at that for now. So, with that being the start of your day, what would each of you like to do?
So, to get this straight, they're claiming that something came into the good Widow Borga's room at night and took a lot of blood from her. And no one seems to be suspicious or up in arms about this, because I personally feel affronted and it wasn't even done to me.
Yes.
That does seem to be what is implied here, and I agree. Something is not right. Harlow, is this anything that you're familiar with?
Have I ever experienced monsters before?
Spirits, sure. Monsters, not so much.
My expertise is mostly in the incorporeal, not the exsanguinating. So no, but things have been off since we arrived. When strange things happen in groups of 3 or more, it's very hard to ignore.
I have a bit of a theory. It's not fantastic. So, do you mind if I share? I don't wish to alarm anyone.
Please, I would love to know what could possibly be feeding on us in our sleep.
Well, I think we should definitely be sleeping with the windows shut.
Worrying is we're a little past that.
Yes. So this is the 99th anniversary of this town, correct?
Correct.
There are 9 mountain peaks. She goes over to the pictures, and she shows the 9 mountain peaks here. And if you trace from one peak to another, you get this star. Now, this doesn't sound very... It sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook and nonsense, right?
I'm already rubbing her forehead in like, oh God.
And she pulls out the notebook. This notebook was given to me by a former colleague of mine. And this same star on this mountain appears multiple times in his book. I'm thinking there may be a connection because this is starting to act a little bit strange to be just coincidence.
Well, did he speak of anything about the star in the book? Anything about its importance or meaning?
Was there any meaning next to it, or was it just littered throughout it?
Ramblings.
No, unfortunately, just ramblings. But it becomes more and more frequent throughout the book as his investigation was going on.
Did your colleague ever visit this town?
That's a good question. I'm going to flip through the notebook really quickly to see if there's any mention of visiting Ebeneves.
Go ahead and roll plus luck.
14!
Oh, shit.
Okay, yes, you do find a mention of the name Eben Eves in the book.
Yes, here. It looks like Augustus was here. Is there a date on the page by any chance? Or no?
There's not a date.
Okay. So he was here.
There is just... Yes.
Well, that certainly doesn't bode well. But, at least there's a concentrated location of evidence.
So, you say the book is ramblings and the star appears more frequently as the book goes on. Was there a coherent train of thought or a thesis in the beginning that starts to go away as possibly he descends into madness? But something that we could start with, perhaps?
There is a bit. Augustus was never particularly good at putting his words down in any way that was more legible. But I'll puzzle out what I can. I had really just been trying to hope for any sort of clues as to what had caused his decline. Not really even sure why he gave it to me.
Would you mind if I took a look?
No, here. And she'll hand the book to Harlow.
And Harlow's just kind of flipping through it. I feel like she's had some encounters with, people sort of losing themselves. Some of the more horrifying realities of the world unseen. Um,
Okay.
but this was the book that Marguerite referenced in the question she gave Harlow. So I want to I want to put the book down on a table and see if I can uh, consult my usually very quiet friend now that the book is actually like in my possession, and see if that bodes any better for my ability to understand what could be figured out from this text.
Okay.
So she pulls the bone bracelet off and unclasps the chain and empties it out onto her hand and just swipes them in an arc on the table. And yeah, and just kind of tries to reach out and see if she can consult with hopefully a friendly a friendly voice.
Okay. Um.
This is a consultation.
Okay. So roll plus luck.
Ooh, 13. I rolled a nat 12.
All right. So you attempt to commune with the spirits, and you hear a voice that says,
I don't like that thing.
Why? What does it mean? What made this man write this?
He was crazy. He saw things he shouldn't have.
He didn't start crazy though. Did he?
Does anyone?
Just rolls rest. Oh, he saw something he shouldn't have. Where is that something he shouldn't have seen?
I can tell you, but I don't think you'll like it.
If you're just going to say here, that's not helpful.
your mind is filled with images, Harlow, and your thoughts are taken on a journey by this spirit that you've contacted, and you see the outside of the the butler house, and you see your you were reminded of being inside that room, the laboratory, and something about that memory in it, your attention is being pulled towards that closed door you saw off to the side, and you have a feeling that there's something down there, something deeper, something beneath the house itself. And you just have a flash, a momentary vision in your mind of a great circle, 12, 15 feet maybe in diameter, huge, filled with bright green light. It's just a flash for a moment. And as the flash dims, you're left with this sort of after image burned into the back of your retinas of a 9-pointed star. You gain 1 point of lore.
I can use that. All right. So Harlow Harlow had started sort of fiddling with the bones on the table in sort of an absent motion as she's sort of thinking this conversation out with her friend. And when she kind of comes to from that vision, she's blinking really hard and kind of getting a feel for her surroundings again. And she looks for whichever direction the Butler house is, even though she's indoors.
Sure, you look in that direction.
I'm somewhat glad we didn't go into the Butler house. Well, that we didn't get too far in. That is, there's more there than I even saw. Something very, very bad.
Like something that would drink an old widow's blood bad, or unrelated, we have more than one problem in this godforsaken town bad?
Oh, there's no reason to not assume they're related. One could easily cause the other, or lure the other here, I suppose. I don't know how this all fits together, and I don't know if it does, or if there's anything to be done about it. I normally just talk to those who wish to be spoken to, not things that want to work so hard to be hidden, and things that should very possibly just stay hidden.
Do you think it's possible that the same fate might have befallen the butler woman?
Well, I didn't speak to her, so I don't know, but she's either involved or fallen under the sway of something, perhaps. Knowledge can be a powerful lure.
Every 2 weeks, something happens, supposedly. Perhaps we should venture out back into town and see if anyone else seems to have been mysteriously accosted in the evening.
Sure.
Maybe try and get a little bit more information from this Winnie Butler as well, if possible.
Harlow blanches a little bit at the prospect of going back to that house.
And if we are on our way out, I actually would like to go outside and stand underneath the widow's window and just look at the ground at the side of the building and see if there's anything unusual.
Okay, roll to poke around.
10.
10, fantastic. You do find a clue as you are poking around under the window. You find what looks to be, first of all, you find on the outside of the window sill, there appear to be a few very small specks of blood. And then you also find on the ground, sort of almost hidden in the grass, you find a piece of what looks like gossamer, thin, slightly iridescent insect wing.
I will hold it up and kind of examine it in the light and walk back around the house to everyone. Does this look familiar to anyone? I've never quite seen a wing like this before, but I found it on the ground outside the widow's window. And I think what might be some of her missing blood, on the ground and on the wall a little.
What was you said it was like a strip of wing, or like how much of a wing was it?
It's like maybe 3 inches by 2 inches
Intact.
strip of this.
Okay.
Yeah, a piece. It doesn't look like a full. It looks like it was torn.
Well, that's comforting.
This looks like it belongs to something much larger, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
I was hoping you were going to say no.
Harlow, what exactly is it that you saw inside the house? Of the...
The first or the second time?
The first.
Oh, there was, well, when I climbed into the room, there was a mirror. It was under a curtain, a thick curtain. I wasn't sure what it was at first, and when I pulled it free, and it was just a mirror at first, and then something happened. Something contorted what I was seeing. It was ghastly. I don't really have words for it. But
Contorted it how? Did it warp it, enlarge it, shrink it?
I don't remember. I just remember I got super fucking scared.
You remember the features kind of distorted and stretched, and this massive,
big,
inhuman
right.
smile, almost Cheshire Cat-like, just with a lot more sharp teeth.
Gotcha. It was, it was smiling, and it just kept growing in the smile, and far too many teeth, and it's still my face, but not my face. It was very upsetting.
Does that sound familiar? Okay.
God.
So about the mirror, I've seen it before. Had it. I got rid of it because it did that.
Is that all it did? Just scared you?
Seemed like it might have been bad luck to have around.
Oh, I agree. When I was there was a door in the room. I obviously didn't have time to, or motivation to continue exploring, but that's what I saw at the table. There's something deeper in the house behind that door. It's hard sometimes to know if something is metaphor or literal, but I saw your star, Marguerite, and a circle. Which stars tend to come in when they're bad news. I see you. I see you, villain.
No, kidding. I was concerned if you said that it made things grow, that perhaps when he was using it on some sort of creature, and she gestures towards the wing, to create something. She's very interested in science. Now, she said my type of science was not correct, but she did have pause when I mentioned being a scientist of sorts.
I'm not sure someone who harbors those sort of artifacts in her collection would have any justification to call anything right.
I don't disagree with you.
No.
But if we needed to investigate, it could be a way in. After all, what if investigating gave you the closure that you needed, Elijah? And Harlow, what if investigating made the visions stop?
You really shouldn't promise things like that.
I said what if and might. I did not promise.
What if we all got closure on the train back home?
That is also a perfectly viable option.
Don't get me wrong, I am fascinated by the whole idea of this, of weird scientists and giant things with wings and bloodless widows, but I don't quite know what I should or could do about it.
You have a gun.
Yes.
I do
It's
have a
one
gun.
more than most of us have.
His just happens to be large, or theirs just happens to be larger than mine, that's all.
Yes.
I saw that gun, didn't I? When the lights went out? Or did I not? Okay. Yeah, I thought so.
Yes, you did. It was out real quick.
Elijah, there's no requirement you stay. I understand I understand self-preservation is a vitally important skill. But the widow, anyone else that could be here that isn't the cause of this, I can't in good conscience leave.
Yes, I
What's the
suppose.
purpose of seeing these things if you don't do anything about them?
I suppose that's true. Well, perhaps we head into town to take a look around. If things are as bad as you say at this anniversary, I have the sneaking suspicion that we may discover that the train we had scheduled to leave in a few days is the next one that comes through, and there isn't one till.
Well, if that is indeed the case, then I believe our decision is made for us.
Yes, because it goes from doing good to survival. Well,
Indeed.
there's a great many things that we'll do differently, won't we?
Indeed. All right. Well,
Harlow starts collecting the bones and, well, actually, we'll just say during this conversation, Harlow was collecting the bones and slowly, like, lacing them back onto the chain.
all right.
Then another constitutional is in order.
I suppose so. Matthew, is this late enough that there are telephones, or is it?
Yeah, there are telephones.
Okay. I do want to go ahead and then
It's 19 for Melissa's.
use my scholarly contact to try and gain a clue when they find, and ask them to look into some stuff for getting some valuable pieces of information, if I can.
Certainly. You pick up the phone in the B&B, you connect to the operator, you ask them to wire you to your contact, and go ahead and roll, is it Affinity, I think? Or Convince?
Affinity. Let's see how well this goes. 10.
Okay. Yeah, you ask your contact to look into... What is it specifically you're asking them to look into?
That's a good question. Access kind of a valuable piece of information. I'm just trying to think of. I'm gonna ask them to look into paranormal reports, specifically surrounding that mirror that Robin and Harlow described that distorts, and if there are any stories associated with it.
Okay. They will look into that for you, and call you back in about an hour.
Excellent. Right. let's go investigate, shall we?
Very well. Harlow just visibly starts steeling herself for a nice casual walk. Yep, I'm sure.
Harlow, would
So
you...
you're going...
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
Would you like something to reduce the anxiety slightly?
Yes, that would be welcome.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and use my therapy ability then and roll plus stock to try and see if I can't help Harlow out, because I can only do it to once per day per person, so...
No, I'd be welcome.
6 plus 3 is 9. Okay.
Okay, that's a success. So you reduce your stock by 1. Harlow, you heal 1 point of shock.
Hooray, I'm no longer disturbed. I'm merely shocked. Pearls have been clutched, but I am not.
Robin, were you at disturbed too? Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody take a habit bath.
Okay. Robin, if you are feeling anxious at all as well, please let me know and I will do what I can to assist you, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was a yes, I'm feeling anxious or a
Trying to decide.
Mm.
I am certainly disturbed, but also curious.
All right. I'll just take my stock with me in case we need it. That way I'm not having to run back for pharmaceuticals.
All right, with your delicious, delicious morphine in tow, you all head out, and... Are you headed over to the Butler house or somewhere else?
We could check the we could check with the constabulary to see if anything else has happened, but it might have been too soon for anyone to have reported attacks.
And if whatever it is did come from the Butler house, it wouldn't have had to go very far for its meal at our place. So it might not have gotten very far. Especially if its wings are damaged.
Fair point. Then perhaps we just retrace the hypothetical steps. So yeah, head to the Butler house. Harlow's keeping a very slow, methodical eye out for anything that would be walking.
Certainly. You pass down the streets of town. You see some other inhabitants, all of whom seem to be in good spirits after last night's gala. Talking about the party, the goings-on, the beautiful outfits that everyone was wearing, the delicious food and wine, the just how wonderful the celebration was, and how wonderful the Pembertons are for being so hospitable as to invite everyone. And you make your way towards the Butler house, which, as you are approaching, you see someone approaching the front door. As you are coming up towards the house, it is a gentleman in a long, fine coat. He has dark hair, and as he knocks on the door, he glances about himself, and you just quickly see an image of the face of the young man who bumped into you the night before, Elijah.
Oh, it seems that she
you believe-
perhaps has found number 10.
This young man who you believe to be the aforementioned Samuel Pemberton is let inside the house and quickly disappears from your view as you all approach. What would you like to do?
Before we knock, I know we want to come here and see what there is to see, but how. How do we start this conversation? Last time we were here, we Harlow snuck in through the back. Do we want to try a similar tactic of distraction and a little B&E?
If someone's able to hold her attention for long enough, I suppose.
I could try to do that.
Although I can't help but wonder if maybe a different approach would soften her up to discussion. Someone of a different expertise, or
I think if I carry on a conversation about cryptozoology, she would be very interested in that. And that is exactly what I like to do. So,
Yes, and I think I could stay with you, Robin. No offense, Marguerite, but she did not seem to have a strong response to you last time. And,
Correct.
well,
I've
Harlow
heard-
knows the way in, so.
and I very much wish not to volunteer to speak with her. Thank you.
I will stay with you, Harlow, and we will let Robin and Elijah hopefully give some enticement to our lovely scientist here.
That sounds like a good plan. You have a gun, so I'm fine with this.
A gun and sedatives.
All right. If it was at all not anachronistic, I would go break.
So, Haro and Marguerite, you go along the side yard as you approached before. Elijah and Robin, are you going up to the front door?
Yeah.
All right. And then as you come up onto the porch, which of you would like to knock or ring the bell?
Yeah, I'll ring the bell and step aside. My plan is to try to play Robin's hype person as they describe the things they've seen.
Okay, you ring the bell. At the same time, Marguerite and Harlow, you were coming up the side yard, and you come to the window that a couple days before had been blown out, and you had sort of smashed the remaining broken glass out to make it safe to traverse. That window has now been boarded closed.
Is there like a... You know how there's like storm cellars and things that you can open up and get into the house that way from outside? Is there anything like that in the yard?
Roll plus luck.
Let's find out. I can't math. 6 plus 1 is 7 plus 2 is 9.
9.
Mhm.
You do see the doors to what looks like a storm cellar. They have a chain with a lock on it. And back at the front door, Robin and Elijah. A moment passes before you hear the sound of... It sounds like multiple deadbolts and locks being slid out of place, and then the door opens and you see the face of this somewhat manic expression woman with darker colored skin, frizzy black hair with streaks of white coming from the temples. She has a pair of goggles currently resting on her forehead and is dressed in this long, sort of soot-colored, almost like lab coat type attire. And she looks at you, Robin. Yes, what do you want? I'm very
yes,
busy. Is this important?
You wanted to talk to people about science, yes. Right? You, that's what you told my friend. And
She looks over at you, Elijah.
not this friend, my other friend. And I do know about science. I know about
What do you know about science?
zoology, specifically cryptozoology, the sort of strange beasties that people don't think about a lot.
Roll convince for me, Robin.
It's a 6.
She seems to eye you up and down for a long
Can I
moment.
try to help out with that, actually?
Sure. Go ahead and roll to help.
With my plus from my connection to Robin, that's a 10.
Okay, so that gives you a +2 to the roll, which makes it an 8, which is a mixed success, Robin.
And I think I help
so-
out by holding up that piece of gossamer wing. Robin knows about things like this.
Excellent. All right. As soon as she sees you hold that up, her eyes, as if it were somehow possible, go even wider. And she looks around the street. Come in, come in. Opens the door wide enough for both of you to enter.
Yeah.
Right. You go inside. She immediately closes the door, closes all the locks again, and turns to face the two of you. All right. Cryptozoology, you say?
Yes.
What sort of creature do you think that might have come from,
Well, some sort of large insect or something of the sort. Bug. I'm gonna look at it, like try to move the wings around. I mean, obviously not. Is it kind of like a little bit see-through?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not obviously not a large butterfly or moth. Possibly something fly-like or mosquito-like.
But have you ever seen or read of a fly or a mosquito of such size?
No, but I am interested to find out. There are some. Have you seen anything around here of that size?
Me? You're questioning me now?
Just the question. Just one question.
And she turns and looks at you now, Elijah. What about you? What do you do? Is this your assistant?
I finance things because scientific endeavors require someone to back them, someone to believe in them, and I have been on occasion known to fund Robin in their explorations, and we heard that there was a person of science here, so it's always interesting to see what other things might be funded.
So you're a patron of the sciences.
Yes, not so much a practitioner, but a supporter, if you will.
Elijah is
Fantastic.
incredibly patronizing.
There's something I'd like you to see. Come with me. And she leads you back into the house. Meanwhile, Harlow and Marguerite, what are you two doing?
Staring up at a window, we have to really try to break through. Actually, yes, attempting to see if there's anything to be done from this side. Or
I
if
mean,
there
it looks like a board that was probably nailed into the window frame, so you could always try to knock the nails out and knock it loose.
from like nailed on the outside or nailed on the inside.
On the inside.
Okay, so is there any space to get a hand in to like hold it up so it doesn't fall as I maybe push the board? No. Okay, so you have to like basically push it and let it fall. Okay. Are there any other windows?
Oh yeah, there are other windows on this side of the house.
I would perhaps recommend that we try a different window, if only just for the less noise that'll be caused from opening it.
I agree. I wish I had some sort of lock-picking ability as well. If we could get in through that cellar door, that would have been helpful. But all right, let's see what we can't find. I'll follow you.
All right, so what would you like to do?
I'd like to see if I could find a nearby window that hopefully would attach to the lab as well. I don't want to necessarily jump into a room I don't know, but if that's the only option, I'll try.
Okay. The window that led to the lab is the one that's boarded up. That was blown out by the explosion. The other
Okay.
windows are going to go to other rooms.
Okay, sure. That's fine.
Do you
That'll
think
be
there's a
fine.
window in that room where the door was shut? Do you think there's a window into that room particularly?
Oh God, I hope not.
Thinking back to sort of the layout of the house,
Mhm.
there wouldn't be a window that goes to where that door was leading.
Yeah, let's just hope to get inside in something neutral.
Sounds good.
So Harlow will look for the next closest window and see if she can quietly fiddle with it, quietly and quickly fiddle with it to get it
All
open.
right. Do either of you have anything like a crowbar or anything of that variety that you could use to wedge under and push up the window?
I have that ceremonial dagger that I was using at the séance, so it
Okay.
would be a long wavy thing. At least might be something that I could cut along the edge or like try to pry a little bit.
All right. I'll say that, yeah, you're able to pry it under the window and push it up enough to get your fingers under, and then you can push the window up and open. And it leads to what looks like a bathroom.
Okay.
And nobody's in there at the moment.
Right, and then nobody said Bloody Mary 3 times, so this should be okay. So Harlow just sort of thumbs up to Marguerite. Bathroom.
Do you need a boost?
For a second, she thinks back to the last time she was given a boost up into this house. Yes, thank you.
All right. She'll make their hand to boost her up.
All right. Harlow, you get boosted up into the room.
Okay. Do you want to join?
Well, I'm not going to let you go by yourself. She'll climb up in.
Okay.
Okay. So now you are both in this bathroom. And meanwhile, Elijah and Robin, the two of you have been led back through the house to one of the back rooms. And stepping inside, you find yourselves in, to call it an office is a bit of a stretch. There's definitely a desk. There's like a big rolling chalkboard off to one side. There are some shelves with books. The place is just completely cluttered. There are writings and notepads and sketches and crumpled up pieces of paper and all this sort of detritus of writing and work being done everywhere. Every inch of the floor is covered. Pretty much every piece of furniture is covered by this stuff. It's a disaster. But she bids you, come in. Yes. She just shoves like a pile of books off of a tuft and then moves a bunch of notepads and papers and just throws them across the room, unveiling a chair. Sit.
Yeah, sit down.
Yeah.
Now. We live in a reality. Yes?
Yes.
With forms, with matter and mass and energy and specific laws that govern how these things interact with one another. This is our universe and the laws that govern it. Yes, this is our reality. But what if I told you it wasn't the only reality? What if I told you that there are other universes and that we could go to them?
Why would you do that? Simply for the purposes of exploration, or
Why wouldn't you?
that's
Science
yes.
is the pursuit of knowledge. As someone who funds and understands science, you should realize this. We are on a mission to understand the nature of creation in all of its various forms. imagine what we could learn about our universe if we could look at it from the outside. We could go
What
somewhere
have you been
else.
able to discover so far in your research? I see you have taken extensive notes, and I have heard the power of your work as we rolled into town the other day. What have you got to show for it?
Yes. And she takes the big chalkboard and swivels it around, and you see in the middle of the chalkboard, in the midst of all these different notations and equations, a huge 9-pointed star at the center of a large circle. She says, "There are countless realities, but I have discovered that ours exists in a cluster with 8 others, all in close formation to one another, almost adjacent, you might say. And so traveling from our reality to one of these others is not as difficult as you might believe. In fact, I believe I am on the verge of a breakthrough, and that traveling from our reality to one of these others could be a reality."
What would it be like there? Would it be just like our world but slightly different, or is it drastically different?
There's no way of knowing, really. Does this interest you?
Yeah, I look at Robin kind of slowly turning and looking at the 9-point star. Yes.
Yes.
Marvelous. How much do you want to give me?
Well, the question is, you've got a theory. Yes, I see your theory. Have you started any small-scale proofs? Do you have anything to show?
Yes. Come. And she leads you out of the office and across the hall into a another room that looks like it is some sort of laboratory setup. And you see the markings of a recent explosion. Scorch marks on the floor. Looks to be like a hole that's partially been boarded up in the ceiling. The window to the room is covered in a plank of wood that's been nailed into place. And she goes over to another door that this room has, another exit point, and goes over, pulls a key from her pocket, unlocks it, opens it, and you see a staircase that descends downward.
And as we're passing through this room, I know this is the room that Harlow should be in.
Yes.
And there's a boarded up. Good.
Mhm.
Good. I think there's another one of those withering glances at Robin as we're being pulled through this room.
Which, Marguerite and Harlow, you hear the sounds of people walking down the hallway, and you hear the voice of Winnie Butler, I think was her name? Winnie Butler, yeah, saying this as she leads them into her lab.
Shall we follow?
Oh, you're serious.
We can't leave them if they're in danger. What would you prefer to do?
You go first.
All right. She's going to. Is there a sort of a door that shuts as they enter the lab, or no?
As they're entering the lab, no.
Okay. I'm going to very quietly open the bathroom door and like crack it open just to try and see if I can see what's going on at all.
Okay, you peek it out. You can see the hallway, and it appears to be empty at the moment. And as you're peering out, Winnie Butler is gesturing for both of you to follow. Robin, you notice off to the side in the corner of the room a almost sort of pillar stand with a glass dome over it and something covered in a heavy black cloth. You think that might be what Harlow was telling you she saw in the room before. So, did the two of you descend the staircase?
Yeah.
Sure.
Not knowing where the other two are, but still trying to keep up this act of keeping the almost said the widow. Well, technically, the 9 times widow is still busy.
So sneak out and open up the door for Harlow.
All right, you are creeping out into the hallway. And as you are coming around the corner, you just hear that door shut as Wendy Butler closes it behind her and leads the two of you downstairs, down into what looks like a cellar area, and then leads you across the way and opens another door with another set of stairs that leads down even further. And as you reach this sub-basement area, you actually find a much larger chamber, rectangular room, concrete walls, easily 30 feet by 50 feet, big room under this house. And in the center of the room, or not center, but ahead of you in the room, you see a large circular device, construction, some kind of apparatus, maybe 15 feet in diameter, circular in shape, and it's got cables and wires running off of it, and it's actually got, you see, strung between various points in the circle shape itself, wires that connect into the shape of a 9-pointed star. There's a board with switches and levers off to one side, some of which are blinking and flashing various colored lights at the moment. And you also see there's a man in this room, standing, seemingly waiting. And as he turns to see the three of you coming down the stairs, you immediately recognize Samuel Pemberton. And Elijah, he seems to recognize you, because as he sees you, his expression grows dark and dour, and he stalks towards you, pulling a Bowie knife from under his jacket, and he goes to stab you with it. What do you do?
I stagger backwards, and for the first time, I twist my cane, and I pull the blade from inside of it and point it back at him.
Okay,
Well,
roll
now,
plus.
careful.
Are you going to try and deflect his blow, or just threaten him to keep him from attacking you?
I think threaten him to keep him from attacking.
Okay, roll plus might.
7.
On a 7. He stops and pauses. He still has the knife out. He still has dark intent in his expression. And he says, I saw you go into the closet. You're one of them, ain't you?
No, but you know what's in there?
Looks over towards you, Robin.
Yeah. We got out.
In the boxes, the things in the boxes that are replacing people or something.
Something. He backs off and his posture changes. He's still got the knife in his hand, but he's not as aggressive in the moment. So you two ain't one of them.
No.
We were very fortunate to get away before whatever was inside of that box got to us, but the people who work for your parents were very eager to try to keep us there, back to it.
Yeah. My mother pays them pretty well to do what she wants. Of course, not really her doing it anymore, but, you know. So, what are you doing here? To which Winnie comes up and says, oh, Samuel, this gentleman might be investing in our project. Really?
I'll be honest with you both, for a brief moment. It was a trick to get in the door, but if this is real, if you have a way to deal with these things, the things that you're talking about with your mother, my father, I saw him when I was much younger, a box and a thing, and it hurt to look at, and he was different from then on. You're saying that that you've experienced. Does this have something to do with that?
When he says, yes. You see, Samuel here, and she starts walking over towards this grand machine, came to me some time ago and said that things had been different with his family lately, that there were these creatures trying to take over them, perhaps trying to take over the entire town, who knows, maybe the world. It's all very exciting. But he was interested in some way of perhaps stopping them, and I thought, well, some sort of supernatural creature that we cannot understand. Perhaps there's someone else, something else, some other force that could help us to understand and defeat it. And that's why. And she gestures to this vast apparatus. We've gone to find help. And help we found, by the way. It's already here.
Is it
Well, the first one's here. More of them will come.
some sort of large mosquito man? Something that drinks the lifeblood of innocent people or people in general? I guess it doesn't matter if they're innocent in this case.
I don't really know anything about the lifeblood drinking, but yes, it is kind of a big mosquito person.
Ah,
I am upset that Mosquito Man or Mansquito is a thing. Damn it, friends. It's a Mansquito.
that was me.
Yeah, I
That's
just realized it was you.
They're here to help us, though.
How do you know that? Just out of morbid curiosity that they're here to help and not just feed?
Oh, no, they very much said that they were here to help us. Meanwhile, upstairs, Marguerite and Harlow, you come into the laboratory, which Harlow you are familiar with already, and perhaps a little apprehensive at returning to. You still see the pillar with the covered object sitting off in the corner, and you see the door in front of you, the closed door that your little spirit friend alluded to in your vision.
Question. Was the mirror something that was handheld, or was it like...
It was a hand mirror.
Okay. Harlow's just kind of staring at the curtain, debating making a very bad decision.
Are you alright?
I don't like it. Neither did Robin. Maybe it shouldn't exist anymore.
You want to break it?
Take it for now. Maybe make someone else look at it for a change, and then just want it.
Alright. Is it big enough to fit? Could it fit into a purse or something like that, or no?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Marguerite
I have-
opens up.
I have a. I wouldn't ask that. That seems unfair. And Harlow goes towards the pedestal. So let me get this straight. It's like a mirror inside a bell jar covered by something, or is it?
So
I thought
there's a glass dome covering it. Under the glass dome, there is a heavy cloth covering the mirror itself.
So Harlow's gonna go over and pick up the glass and gently set it down, and then not remove the fabric, but just take the mirror and like wrap it up and put it in her bag,
All right.
and then put the glass back. Not that it's gonna matter if there's nothing inside it.
Okay. So you do so. And then what do the two of you do?
Should we? I think they went through the door.
Unfortunately, yes. If you want to lead the way again, I would not. I wouldn't say no.
Gun drawn or not?
Yes, please.
Of course. So she'll pull out her gun and very quietly start to descend the stairs.
And
All right.
Harlow-
You open the door, which in her haste, Winnie forgot to lock, and you head down into the basement. It is dark and dusty. There's a little bit of light coming in through the half windows at ground level. And as you are moving around the place, you both hear a sound. Sounds like heavy fluttering of wings.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Just like, do we get a sense of direction or?
Probably to your left. Back a ways.
Do we hear the conversation happening as we?
No, you don't hear any conversation in here. They went down to another sub-basement
Oh.
past where you are.
We keep going, or do we turn back?
Well, if they're down here and there's creatures about, it might be, not to sound morbid, there might be a chance to save them.
Let's go.
Right. I'd like you both to act under pressure for me. So roll plus reason, please.
Actually, I have strangely intense, so when I act under pressure, I can roll my luck instead of my reason.
There you go.
Oh, I rolled an 8 total.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. As you are doing your best to move through the dark, shadowy interior, you continue hearing that rustling sound, that just sort of beating of heavy wings. It seems to be moving. You never hear it in the same place twice. And then you hear maybe like a sound of something brushing against one of the various stacks of items being stored down here. And then you hear something immediately behind you, and you turn, and your nerves just take over you, Marguerite, and you fire your gun at what you think is something behind you. There's a muzzle flash that briefly illuminates the interior, but you don't seem to hit anything. You do hear that heavy fluttering sound, and it seems to retreat from you very quickly. Down in the sub-basement, Elijah and Robin, you hear a gunshot going off immediately above you, and Winnie and Samuel seem to notice it too.
I might be able to explain that.
Me explain.
Let's check that out real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Samuel marches towards the door. He's got his knife in his hand still. Starts going up.
I follow him.
You'll follow him. All right. Marguerite and Harlow, you hear a door open. And as you look over in that direction, you see Samuel Pemberton standing at the top of the staircase holding a very large, deadly-looking knife in his hand.
Harlow pulls
What do you
out
do?
her dagger and
Okay.
just sort of stands beside Marguerite. You have more than one bullet, right?
Yes, but not very many.
Don't need many for a person.
He steps aside, and you see immediately behind him, coming up the stairs now, Elijah, with a sword cane in hand.
Harlow eyes Elijah, wondering, we should have come up with a password.
Hello? If who I think is in here, it's okay to speak up. We may have found allies.
Oh, good.
Oh, thank God.
Allies, we might have startled something in here. If it's not safe, we should go.
Yes, that's still a little bit in question. The good scientist says that they are indeed on our side, though we don't really have any assurance other than them saying that they're on our side, but they're here to perhaps help destroy whatever it is that the Pembertons are mixed up in. This is, I believe you remember Samuel. Samuel is aware of what has been happening to his parents and perhaps the town, and is wanting to make sure that we are not in that same boat. I assured him we are not.
Oh. All right.
Good doctor, you said. Scientist. I don't
Yes.
remember what you said.
Yes, the scientist, yes. down in the basement. Winnie Butler, the scientist.
All right. Harlow keeps her dagger out, but isn't brandishing it anymore. With sort of a feeling herself again, starts marching towards where Elijah and Samuel are, with the intent of heading down.
And what did you say about a threat in here?
Something fluttering, not great.
I will.
Could be your little, the owner of your little trinket.
I'll look at Samuel. Have you actually encountered one of the reinforcements that I keep wanting to call her something else that Winnie has brought here?
I haven't seen him yet, no.
Well, I think this morning that one of them seemed to feed off of the Widow Borga. Is it your impression that the Widow was, in fact, one of them?
I don't know. Could have been anyone at this point.
I'm feeling less and less confident about this. And I will turn and go back down the stairs.
Right, the three of you make your way back downstairs. As you reach the bottom, you see that Ms. Butler is in the process of flicking a number of switches and pushing some buttons, and she grabs this big crank and starts turning it and turning it and turning it, and as she does, lightning starts to spark an arc between these 2 points, and she sees you come back down and says, "Ah, brilliant! Yes, I thought you could do with a demonstration!" And she goes over and grabs this massive switch on the wall and pulls it. And as she does, you watch this huge ring spark with shock bolts of electricity running between these various points across this almost 9-point star type configuration that the various wires make across the circle. And then the entire circle ignites with bright green light, a portal in space hovering in the middle of the room. Illuminates the entire interior, casts this unearthly green light upon all of you, and as Winnie comes over, her hands clasped excitedly. See? See? It's not just theory. We've actually made a way into another world.
What lives there?
Yeah.
Marguerite pulls out the journal, and starts trying to make any sort of, like, is there green portal anywhere in here? I don't know.
You notice 2 shadows appear in this portal. And they're just kind of like stick figures at first. Long, elongated stick figures that gradually grow wider and more filled out, but not much. As stepping out of this portal, you see 2 massive insect-like creatures with 4 spindly legs seeming to support a lower segmented body, then an upper body with 4 more long spindly legs, large wings folded against their backs, a rounded head with 2 huge complex eyes, and a long, thin, beak-like protrusion out of the front. And when he steps up before them, says, yes, welcome, 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 welcome. We have so much to learn from you.
How many have you brought through so far, Winnie?
1 last night, and now 2 more.
And they understand you, being from another world. We have the same language.
Each of you hears a piercing, shriek-like sound, like a nail being drawn down a pane of glass. And it hurts your ears incredibly at how high-pitched and unpleasant it is, and yet somehow you're able to make sense of it, make sense of the intent behind it. And it says, Um, we do not speak as you do, but we understand one another.
Okay.
The things that you were brought here to help against, do you know what they are?
Screeching comes again, says, "We know that they do not belong here. They are from another place. We will help you be rid of them."
Why? Why do you wish to help? Why does it matter if they don't belong here to you? We know why it matters to us. It's dangerous.
They are also dangerous to us. We have known them before. We wish to stop them from spreading.
Can you
We
tell?
will protect you.
Can you tell the difference between someone who has turned to one of those creatures and, say, one of us who has not? How do we know? How can we tell? How can we tell the difference? She's not trying to sound accusatory. She's trying to frame it in a. Is there a way that we can understand so we know if?
In the darkness, they reveal their true form.
Yes, we experienced that.
Is it possible to read a person that's not a person? But
You can certainly go for it.
I would like to try.
They might still be a person, they're just not human.
Yeah, that's fair. Boxcars, 12.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. So, you can go ahead and ask me 3 questions, such as, are they telling the truth? What are they really feeling? What do they intend to do? What do they wish you would do? How could you get them to do X or something along those lines?
So I think the initial thing is with Harlow's question about, why do you want to help us? And their explanation of, we've had to deal with them, we want to get rid of them because they're a threat to all of us. If they're telling the truth.
They are true. They are being honest, you believe, when they say that they want to stop them from spreading.
What do they want us to do?
They want you to allow them into this reality.
What are they feeling?
This one is difficult because there are no sort of emotional tells that you can get from a human face. But you think that they are feeling anticipation. And I forgot, but as these creatures appeared, I need all of you to roll plus reason, please.
Fair. 9.
Hi.
Three.
Oh no.
10.
Okay, Elijah, you're fine. Harlow and Robin, you each take 1 shock. Marguerite, you take 2 shock.
Okay.
At the sight of these otherworldly insectoid creatures.
So because I have hard to rattle, then I reduce that by 1.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I'm now shocked. Got it. Okay, for hard to rattle.
So these two have stepped through. They are in the room with us. There's theoretically one back. Do we
Which,
see
as you
any more
glance over,
shadow?
you can see a third one coming down the stairs, and there's now 3 of them in the room with you. In fact, you think you notice as this one comes down the room, one of its wings is slightly torn in one place.
Sorry about
Are there any
that.
shadows in the portal? Any additional shadows?
Not at the moment, no.
Has anyone ever come and visited you? From here?
Screeching sound comes again. No.
Oh, okay. She looks a little disappointed, like hoping that maybe she'd found out what happened to Augustine. She's like, oh, okay.
I'm going to turn to the one who just came in. They said that these things reveal themselves in the darkness. You, I assume, fed on a woman in her sleep last night. Did she reveal herself to be one of these things?
Can't hear you, Matthew.
Oh. You hear the screech again coming from this creature now, and it's still that very uncomfortable high-pitched screech, just a slightly different tone from it. It says, "She was not one of the shadow things. I simply needed sustenance."
Can you feed off the shadow things for sustenance?
We do not feed on them.
How many of you are you proposing or requesting come through there to help?
One of the ones who just stepped out of the portal screeches, "As many as needed. We come to protect you."
Do you have a magnitude as an example of how many? Millions? Couple dozen?
As many as is needed.
Do you know how many there are of the shadow things in our world? Is it
We
just
do
you?
not know that yet.
Do you kill things when you feed from them occasionally?
Sometimes.
Is it possible to not kill things when you feed on them?
The widow's
Yes. Do
Which
you kill the
happens-
things you eat?
Yes.
I mean, I don't specifically kill them myself, but I also
Industry complex.
didn't promise to protect them specifically. I did not come to this world to be the savior of cows and then eat a steak.
In front of them.
We require sustenance.
May we confer with our colleagues about this privately? We haven't been in contact with you before.
Speak as you like.
If I would like to do it privately, is that all right?
Speak as you like.
Okay, I take that to mean we can go upstairs for a moment and discuss this.
All right.
And she looks to the scientist and Samuel.
All right. Samuel is standing right beside you. He seems a bit off-put by these creatures. Winnie is over at her instruments, like looking at readouts and writing down readings, and she is busily and quite giddily at work. She's not even paying attention to you.
Dr. Butler, could we have your assistance, please, for a moment?
Okay. We just have to be quick, though. I want to make sure I document everything.
Of course, I do understand.
Yes, I might say it would be a good idea to shut the machine down for now. You would hate to have it overload and have to start over again on some of the components.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. She turns the thing off. The portal goes dark.
Thank you.
And the creatures are still in the room with us.
Mm-hmm.
We will return shortly.
And when we hear them, we don't hear them, we hear them.
You hear this high-pitched screeching sound, which you understand the meaning behind.
Okay, so it doesn't feel like the words are being put into our minds, for example.
Nope.
Okay,
Just sounds like we're fluent in bug.
I'll take it.
Somebody go tell Colton we're speaking to the insects.
Yes.
Harlow is definitely first to sort of charge up the stairs, up back toward the lab.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe we'll
You all
stop
head
in that
back
first
upstairs.
basement so she doesn't see that you took the mirror.
I guess. Sure.
Okay, you all go up to the basement.
Right. So,
Ma'am, I would like to posit a hypothetical to you so that you could give me your thoughts about it. You invite, hypothetically, a species of otherworldly beings who feed on humans, sometimes even killing them, and intend to what? Invite them to our world so that they could potentially provide as much force as they deem necessary, and was that the intention, ma'am?
The intention is to learn. We have so much to learn from them. Yes, including how to deal with this little problem that Samuel's family is undergoing. But more than that, even maybe being able to venture into their world, see what they're like, what physics is like in their reality. It could be entirely different than ours. We could learn so much.
What about the concern of a carnivorous species of, let's call them warriors, staking a claim on this nice new patch of food? They could
She just-
destroy the earth and kill everyone on it. I know I'm catastrophizing, but this seems catastrophic.
Eh.
oh. I would posit if we wanted to study and learn about these other worlds, perhaps you visited yourself and learned what better environment to understand a difference of science while inside of it.
I absolutely intend to. I just have to get some information from them, specifications regarding atmosphere, gravitational pull. I don't want to step through the portal and be poisoned or squashed into jelly. So that's all going to take place. This is just a preliminary exercise to make sure that the tunnel itself works.
Understandable.
You have indeed seen proof that it works. Perhaps while we go over a few other minor details, you might want to go pack a bag because you would hate for them to be ready to go and you delay the whole thing.
What am I putting in the bag?
Whatever you would need with you, clothing, any of the things that you personally would need every day without knowing.
My instruments! And she runs upstairs.
Samuel, I understand that whatever is going on with your family is not a good thing. I have seen it myself, and it is dangerous and it is deadly. But those things, they're anxious. I don't know how else to say it. They want to be here. They are chomping at the bit to come through. I think...
Please don't say jumping.
There's got to be another way. And there are others of us here with you now, Samuel, who believe you, who have seen what you have seen. But there's got to be a better way.
Would you say they're
What other
hungry
way do you
for the
suppose there
opportunity?
is? Exactly. Do you know how to stop those things? How to kill them? How to get them out of the people they've taken over?
I don't yet, but I don't think they do either. I think they simply will kill whoever they're in. You heard them. They don't feed off of them. They feed off of us. If they're parasites, you kill the host. That's what they're planning to do.
Suppose we're missing that little detail. What their intentions were with the shadow thing.
We could ask them the most effective way to deal with them and learn exactly how they plan to destroy them. That is, in a way, protecting us, giving us information on how to find and cull them ourselves rather than inviting masses of dinner guests.
Harlow very abruptly just plops down on the ground, sitting, and just unsure what to do about any of this, proceeds to remove the bracelet again and scatter the bones very close to her if possible.
Sure.
And just sort of head in her hands, just sort of staring down at them as she's looking at them like, Asher, if you have ever been helpful, please be helpful. Now what am I supposed to do here? This is not what we do.
Okay, roll plus luck.
That was not where my dice was supposed to go. That was a 6.
Okay. The only message you get from Ash is,
I told you you weren't going to like it.
And my luck gets
and you lose a luck.
by 1, which means 0. I don't like not being lucky. It's not good luck. And she just starts looking around for the bones and trying to put them back on the chain, but mostly just collecting them in her hand to show in her pocket.
Okay.
Marguerite is right. Perhaps some more questions are in order, but Samuel, I mean, whatever it is happening to your family, surely you don't think that if the cure is killing them, why bring these things in to do it? Why not simply take the task upon yourself?
What makes you so sure I haven't tried?
Ah, I see.
See, I figured it out with my father first. He wasn't quite right. Once I figured out what was going on, well, they weren't too happy with me, so I thought I'd defend myself the best way I knew how. Only I couldn't so much as scratch him. This, he holds up this massive Bowie knife, didn't do anything. So if you got a better idea as to how to hurt these things that come from who knows where and are made of who knows what, I'm all ears.
Samuel, were you going to stab me with that to see if I was one of them? Because if so, I suggest you find a better litmus test.
There was almost coughing all over my character sheet.
All right, fine. Yeah, there's elements of this that you understand that we clearly don't. Perhaps Robin or Marguerite or Harlow, one of you could talk to them. There's things that you all understand that are clearly beyond my grasp, and I'm not sure where Samuel falls on that spectrum, but the man with the knife, I assume lays in the same land as I.
All right. Talk to them. At least get a little more information.
So you're heading back down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't maybe lock that door from the inside on the bottom
Yeah, if you wanted to.
basement. I don't want the doctor showing up again.
Okay.
That's
So you head
very
down.
fair.
Yeah.
You close and lock the door to the sub-basement. As you're getting down there, you hear a crackling of electricity. And you come down to see one of these insect creatures at the control to the active portal, which is open again.
I think I turn to Marguerite, who's the only one I have seen with something like this. Shoot it.
All right, this is definitely not good. She kind of glances over at Harlow like, is this the best course of action? She's got her gun. She's like, do I need to?
Better to deal with the devil you know, or at least the devil that doesn't seem categorically worse.
Right. Oh, I am not the character for this one. All right, I guess I'm gonna try and threaten them, and I'm gonna brandish the gun and, excuse me, what do you think you are doing? Please step away from that and shut it down immediately.
All right, roll plus might to threaten.
Therapist voice. This is highly inappropriate.
This is
Where'd it go?
highly illogical.
David, you've not made progress since our last session.
Is it possible to get a 0?
Oh my god.
It is incredible. Actually, yes, possible to get a 0.
Yeah, because I got a 0. I rolled a 2 and I have a -2 to might.
Well, I can't help.
Okay.
I could if it had been partial.
So,
I'm so sorry, guys.
Don't apologize. Did you not think we were screwed from the outset of Lovecraftian?
No, yeah, I'm aware, but still.
So you step forward and do your best to brandish the gun and make this threat. The 3 sets of complex eyes turn in your direction, and one stays at the controls. The other 2 start to advance on you specifically, and you all hear that high-pitched, scratching, screeching noise coming through your ears again, and you just understand it to mean, "We are here to protect you. Do not resist." And one of them is going to come up and reach out with one of its arms and try to grab your gun and take it away from you. Marguerite, what are you doing?
I'm going to try and hold on to my gun because no, do not resist, as we are here to protect you. This is Borg mentality. Not that I know what Borg mentality is in 1944, but no.
Pod people.
But we might be about to find out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and
Alright,
resist.
roll plus might, please.
I would like to help her.
Okay, roll to help.
We have 2 trust. I'd like to think that would help. So that's 8 to
8.
help.
Okay. So she gets +1, but you expose yourself to trouble in doing so. So as you rush forward to try and help her, Marguerite, what was your roll?
It was a 6 -2 would be 4 +1 is 5.
Still a failure. So Harlow, you rush forward to try and help her, reaching in, grabbing, trying. Are you going to try and grab the gun? Or are you trying to grab this thing's pincers?
I'm trying to distract the creature from fighting for the gun.
All right. You go in to try and distract the creature, it reaches out with one of its arms that it's not currently using to try and grab the gun, and slashes you with these very sharp, sort of pincer-like claws. You take 1 harm. And Marguerite, as this thing is wresting the gun from you, you fight it, and its claws scratch your skin as it's pulling the gun away. You also take 1 harm. So, the portal is glowing brightly. You see what looks like maybe another shadow starting to form in the center of it. What are you all doing?
Robin, Elijah, cut it off.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't know if I can do very much because I'm not very strong. But I want to try to start like flipping switches off.
Anything glowing, flip those switches.
Just like smack my hand on it and like drag it down like I was pushing all the buttons on an elevator.
All the
Okay.
portals.
All right, so you rush up to this panel of switches and you just start running your hand down, switching them off. The mosquito creature that was over there turns towards you and is going to respond by grabbing you and sticking its proboscis into your back. And I'm going to use a hard move here because I had one saved against you. You take 2 harm as this thing stabs into your back.
Does the armor take 1 off?
Yes, your armored coat would reduce this to 1 harm.
Hooray. Only slightly less exsanguinated.
All right. Elijah, what are you doing while this is happening?
I think that in this moment, my impulse is to get out the Chesterton and start putting holes in the machinery.
Okay. You pull out the Chesterton, you pull out the canister of bullets, smack it into place. As you are raising it to start firing, a hand comes in and grabs the barrel and tries to push it down as Samuel is not going to let you shoot. So roll plus might, Elijah.
3.
All right. He pushes the gun down, and you feel a sharp stabbing pain as the knife goes into your side. You take 1 harm.
Luckily, my armored coat deflects it.
That's right. So it doesn't actually pierce through the coat. You just feel the hard pressure of where the knife would go in.
And you should be aware that would have really hurt. I'm not one of them, I promise.
Maybe not, but this is how we're going to get rid of them. We'll go back to Marguerite. What are you doing?
All right, so I've just gotten hit. Robin got stabbed through the back when trying to destroy the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah can. I'm gonna use. Was the gun taken from me, or do I still have it?
It was taken away from you.
All right, then I'm rushing to the machine and trying to yank wires out and just destroy it as best I can.
Okay. You rush to the machine. One of these creatures is going to try and get in your way to prevent you from reaching it. So roll plus might. 7 is a partial success. So I will say you can get to the machine, but you'll suffer some harm.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's going to delay you going around, so you won't be able to get to the machine just yet.
I'll get to the machine and take some harm.
Okay. This thing claws at you as you rush past it, so you suffer 1 harm.
Okay, so I'm bruised. Got it.
All right, but you get to the machine and begin fiddling with it. About that time, you hear what sounds like heavy clattering coming down the stairs, and you see uh, Winnie Butler carrying this sort of massive carpet bag that's jangling and clanking together, coming down the stairs. I think the door locked behind you. I'm here with what? And she takes in the scene as everything's going on. Harlow, what are you doing?
Um, I am, I'm gonna try to go for the equipment as well with my dagger, just looking for something to cut power.
Okay. You brandish your dagger and run towards the machine. You hear over your shoulder, "No, my baby!" And Dr. Butler is going to try and tackle you from behind. Roll might.
Okay. Oh, I'm great at that. That is a 9 total.
Okay. So I will say, on a 9, you're going to evade her. I'm going to say you're going to evade her, but I'm going to spend one of my hard moves against you. And as she reaches for you, she grabs your bracelet, and you hear it pop, and all the bones come off and fall to the ground behind you as you are running. Do you continue just running for the machine?
No, I reach into my bag and pull out that mirror and I uncover it and I brandish it at her.
Awesome. She glances up, looks at it, seems to immediately recognize it, and tries covering up her face. Elijah and Robin, what are you two doing?
Trying to get away from the mosquito, try to pull away to get it off my back, maybe.
Okay, are you just trying to escape, or are you trying to go for the machine again?
I'm trying to escape for now.
Okay, I'll say you will be able to slip free of it so long as you're not trying to go for the controls again. It will let you go.
Yeah, just kind of like dropping down and like scooting away.
Okay, Elijah.
I think I'm trying to talk to Samuel, kind of in the heat of everything that's going on. I'm saying to him, Samuel, I understand the things that you have seen, the things that you have been forced to do, but you cannot simply accept the first good solution if you only look within 100 miles of your home. There are things outside of this world, outside of this town, that might be able to help, that aren't going to lead to everyone that you know, everyone in this world being sucked dry and fed upon.
Do you want to try and roll to convince, or are you just
Yeah, I mean, if there's a chance to convince him.
sure?
10.
10. All right. You see him, nostrils flared, this almost crazed look in his eyes as he seems desperate in this moment. Like this is something that he thought was going to work, and seeing you all threaten it, he lashed out. But as you speak to him and try to calm him down, he seems to come to his senses, and he nods and says, "Yeah, you're right, you're right." And he lets go.
You've been at this by yourself. You're not alone anymore, Samuel. We'll figure this out together. And then I will, if he's let go of the gun, fire it at the machine.
All right, resort to violence. Roll plus might.
9.
9. So
How controlled is the spray on that symptom right there?
yeah, I guess I'll ask, at what part of the machine were you aiming?
I really was thinking of more so the place where where Winnie was flipping the big switch, the one that was kind of over, not where the controls were at, but the big power switch.
Okay. So you fire your gun in that direction. You watch the bullets impact and bounce off a couple things. You see a cable get knocked loose and streams of steam start flying out. What appears to be maybe been some kind of coolant or something. It does appear that you've done some kind of damage to the machine, but it is still functioning. And that shadow in the middle is starting to grow thicker, and more slight shadows are following it. What are you all doing now?
I'm starting to pull wires. It's the 9-footed star that's kind of powering it, right? With the electricity going over.
Yeah, there's kind of this nine pointed star of cables that's running all around the ring that forms this portal. Yeah.
This is gonna suck. I'm gonna grab one of them and yank it out, breaking the pattern. And I know it's gonna hurt
Okay.
because it's electrified. I'm aware this is a very stupid idea.
Roll plus might.
9.
All right. You succeed, but I'll say with a mixed success. As you pull it out, that you get this shunt of electricity that runs through your body. You take 2 harm.
Okay.
And the portal begins to flicker, becomes unstable, and you watch as lines begin to overheat and burst, and there are small fires that begin to start all around this contraption as some of the blinking lights start going red, bright red. And what else? What is everyone else doing?
I am still brandishing that mirror at the scientist. But upon seeing that fun time happening, she is going to sort of stare at the back of this mirror and then look up at the scientist and shout at her, "You do not meddle with what you do not understand or cannot understand." And I will smash the mirror on the ground and stomp on it if I have to for good measure.
Okay. The mirror shatters into tiny pieces. And yeah, you stomp on the mirror a couple times to make sure it's good and broken, and then you look over at Ms. Butler, who, as she's sort of partially covering up her face, her hands move back, and you see where it looks like one of the shards from the mirror has just stuck into one of her eyes. There's blood trickling down. She gets up and starts scurrying up the staircase. Elijah and Robin?
Once I'm away a little bit, I will take out my gun from inside the pocket of my jacket and try to shoot at the machine with the intent of hitting one of the points. Probably not doing that, but attempting to do that.
Sure, roll plus might.
It's a 6.
Okay, does your gun have any tags on it?
Yeah, medium range, 1 harm, unreliable.
Unreliable. The gun actually backfires, and you take 1 harm not reduced by your armor. And you do not know that the gun is any longer operational.
It was probably like a Civil War gun, like handgun anyways. It's like, okay, fine.
It only had potentially 1 shot in it, if you were lucky.
Does the machine seem like this overheating process is growing, or is it kind of reached a peak because of the one thing that happened to it?
Uncertain. You've never seen a device like this before in your life.
Yeah, so there's not like more red lights that are starting to flash. It's the same number as before.
Currently.
Yeah, I will try to fire this many bulleted gun at the web of lines.
Okay. Go ahead and roll plus might.
7.
7, mixed success. Yeah, you do think one of the bullets hits one of these lines. However, a couple of the bullets seem to pass through the portal itself.
Boy, I sure hope we can get this closed before that comes home to roost for me.
And seeing you firing into the portal, one of these large mosquito creatures is going to come over towards you with hostile intent. However, Samuel is going to put himself between you and it. We'll see how that resolves in just a moment. The electricity sparking around the room seems to grow more intense and more violent and uncontrolled. You think this thing is about to come apart at the seams, and who knows what's going to happen when that occurs. Let's see. 2 of the large mosquito creatures go over to the controls, and they seem like they are hastily trying to flip things back on that Robin flipped off and try and stabilize everything. One of them is getting into an engagement with Samuel, who brandishes his knife, makes a stab at this thing, seems to wound it slightly, sort of cut into the exoskeleton, but then gets grabbed by this thing's forearms, and you see this long proboscis just jam right into his chest. And Samuel screams out in pain. What are the 4 of you doing?
How close are the ones that are fiddling with the controls to me, since I'm right by the electrical impulses?
7 feet.
Could I reach them with the wires by any chance?
Like with the loose wires and try to...
And try and like jam it in them and get the electricity to go through them rather than...
You can certainly give it a shot. Roll plus might.
8.
Okay. I'll say you can shock one of them with the electricity out of this. Keeping hold of this wire, though, you are going to take 1 more harm. So, but you are able to jam it into one of these creatures. It starts to be electrocuted by the force of the current passing through it.
Okay. Yeah, I do that, and that puts me at Grievous, which gives me a physical debility.
Okay. So, well, the way it works is, if you are at Grievous, you can, if you take any additional harm, take a debility instead of taking additional harm from this point. So,
okay.
But you are currently grievously wounded, which is 5 out of 6. If you reach 6, you are dead. So you are very badly wounded at this point. Your hands are burned with electricity burns. You've been scratched and cut up by these creatures. You are, and you realize it too, you are on the verge of dying.
Yep.
But you are soldiering through and trying to destroy these things before you go.
Protecting my patients. So that is what a doctor does, is they will do what they can to make sure that those that in their care are safe.
Okay, what is everyone else doing?
Is it too late for me to go after the scientist?
No, she's running up the stairs. You can chase her.
I saw the mirror shard, and I just don't trust any molecule of this mirror leaving this room. And
No loose ends.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that is Harlow's fixation right now, is this, not the electricity shit. This I can deal with, and she will get towards the scientist with her dagger.
All right. If you're intending to do harm to her,
Yes.
not with her, but do harm to her, go ahead and roll plus might.
9 total. Oh wait, no, 8 total because I have a -1.
8. Okay, that is still a mixed success.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give you an option here.
Okay.
You can, because she's going to fight to defend herself. So you can take less harm from her or do additional harm to her.
I would like to do additional harm to her.
Okay, so you stab into her, you catch up, grab her like by the back of her lab coat and bring the dagger down and stab into her. She takes an additional harm from that. However, she is going to retaliate by grabbing a wrench and just smacking you in the side of the head with it, so you take 1 harm in return.
Mhm. Okay. So yeah, I'm just wrestling with her and trying to stop her from getting out.
Okay. And she is just screaming manically the entire time. Elijah and Robin, what are you doing?
I'm gonna let the gun drop to the ground and get the sword cane back out and put it between Samuel and this creature and flick it up, trying to cut the proboscis off.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and roll plus might.
11 because of my love for Samuel.
You absolutely succeed. You, because of your love for Samuel. Daddy, how'd you meet Papa? Well, son, you flick the sword cane up. It passes through this long, slender proboscis, severing it. You hear a loud, piercing screech of pain from this creature as it lets go of Samuel. He drops to the ground next to you. You can see this huge wound in his chest, and he is sort of unsteady on his feet and woozy from being attacked in this way. Do you want to do anything else with Samuel?
Yeah,
Or
help him up and start heading towards the stairs because the sound this machine is making does not seem promising.
all right, so you start taking Samuel out of the room. What is Robin doing?
I don't really have anything else I can do. Yeah, I'm gonna start trying to back out. To leave the room.
Okay, so you're just heading out of the room
Yeah,
as well?
I don't know if we can get all the way back up to the lab, but whenever I get up there, I want to look for something like matches or something, maybe. Just
Okay. So everyone, with the exception of Marguerite, makes it up to the cellar. Harlow, you are on the floor engaged in combat with Dr. Butler. Downstairs in the basement, Marguerite, is there anything else you would like to do?
As she sees, I think Robin is the last one heading up the stairs. She yells, "Lock the door." And she's going to try and grab the 2 that she's with and throw them and herself through the portal. As it collapses, hopefully.
Best therapist ever.
All right.
Do not expect your therapist to do this for you. That is unfair to your therapist.
All right. These massive mosquito creatures, you're probably not going to be able to haul 2 of them through
No.
the portal. But you shout out to Robin to lock the door. Robin, you are the last one up. You escape. The door closes, and just as a spindly, clawed hand starts to push out the portal, there is a final shattering shock of electricity, and the entire portal collapses. And there is a almost like earthquake that shakes the entire house. The other 3 of you feel shaking the foundations, probably shaking the entire town as this portal collapses in on itself, along with an earth-shattering kaboom. That is thankfully not actually earth-shattering. So, Harlow, you are still on the ground with the doctor. Are you trying to just finish her,
I'm
or?
trying to get to that glass is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pull that piece of mirror out of
Okay.
her face.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you want to
Alright.
try and do that, roll plus might.
Oh, come on, do well.
Matthew, I effectively assume that takes me out of the game pretty much.
Dr. Marguerite has had her swan song, yes.
Good
so
night,
thank you very
worlds.
much, Tessa.
That was a 2 total.
2. You are unfortunately unable, as you try to reach for her face to get this piece of mirror. She is not going to allow you to do so, and she's going to swing her wrench again and smack you upside the head. So you're going to take 2 harm from this as she clocks you in the side of the head and actually gets out from under you and starts scrambling away again. Elijah and Robin, you see Dr. Butler wallop Harlow over the head and then get up and start running away.
Stop her if I can get any of those words out. Just like a wave, like I'm on the floor and I'm just pointing.
Okay.
No.
Guess I'll follow.
Okay, you chase after her.
Yeah.
Do you have any intent if you should reach her?
Knock her down, maybe, so Harlow can catch up and do whatever she wants to do.
Okay, roll plus might for me, Robin.
It's a 4.
All right. Unfortunately, you are not able to catch up with her. And you chase her up the stairs. She gets out into the laboratory, out into the main floor of the house. Elijah, you've got Samuel, you're part carrying over one shoulder. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna stop it at Harlow. What is going on with this God, why can't I remember her name? What is going on with Winnie?
The mirror, she has a piece of it. It's not safe. She can't get out. I don't know what it'll do.
All right, come on. And I'm gonna try to help Harlow up as well. And
Oh, I'm broken. Hold on.
All right, so
and then
you
help
are
them both up the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah, as you help up Harlow, you see that she's bleeding from a pretty nasty head wound. But you're able to get the 2 of them upstairs. Robin, you give chase upstairs, but unfortunately, the doctor is gone.
Well,
Where's Marguerite?
she said to lock the door behind us.
Oh.
Harlow just sits.
Seems that we should try to procure a way out of town if people are on to you, Samuel, but I suppose we shouldn't go until we're certain that the things in the basement don't come out.
That hurts a little. It's mostly bugs, but not entirely bugs.
All right.
So yeah, Harlow is going to try to just, I guess, walk it off. And by walk it off, I mean snoop through the rest of this woman's house for anything else that she might have.
You snoop through the house. You find 9 wedding bands that are kept in a display in what looks to be the master bedroom. You also see throughout the house, in pretty much every room, has a large portraiture of a different man. And they have names under them. You see Frederick Butler, Pavel Butler, Horton Butler, Rumbold Butler, Schwinn Min Butler, Mohammed Butler, Seamus Butler, Jamil Butler, and Waldo Butler, all in various portraitures. You find looks to be like some various scribblings, writings on her various experiments and whatnot. But the good doctor has gone. And looking around town, no one can seem to locate her. As investigations are done into the goings-on beneath the Butler estate, they find that there is what looks to have been some kind of large sub-basement area that has now completely collapsed in on itself. Does not appear that anything else is going to be emerging from there.
Was there any chance for Harlow to recollect her finger bones, or at least whichever ones she could find? They're gone?
No, unfortunately.
That's fine.
So, and there's also no sign of Marguerite. So, a couple of days pass as Harlow, you, and Samuel both receive medical treatment. You hear that the widow Borga has successfully got a transfusion. She's going to recover and maybe live another who knows how many years at her age. But a couple days later, a train arrives, and we see Robin, Harlow, and Elijah at the train station alongside Samuel Pemberton, who is packed up and joins you as you leave Ebon Eves behind. One mysterious element dealt with, another, perhaps as Elijah said, there are answers outside of Ebon Eves that can deal with it one day. And then, of course, there's also the mystery of what became of Winnie Butler and what that shard of mirror will do to her already frazzled sanity. But that is where we are going to draw the curtain and end this particular mystery, with 3 of our 4 investigators making it out alive, which is not bad, if I'm being honest.
Certainly a better average than I was expecting. My God.
So, thank you everyone for watching. We hope you have enjoyed our Tremulus mystery. If you're interested in playing Tremulus, you can find it. Just search for Tremulus by Sean Preston, and you can find it as a PDF available for download. You can also look at other Powered by the Apocalypse systems, such as Monster of the Week, which Rev knows plenty about, all of which are great fun and really easy systems to learn. All you need is 2d6 and some friends to play with. So definitely recommend looking into it. And, you know, as I always say in Homebrew Studio, do whatever you want with it. Games are there to be played with. So have some fun with it, make it your own. And we will quickly go through and do reintroductions. Tessa, if you're still there and can hear me, pop back on camera. Hello, Tessa.
Yay.
What's it like on the other side?
Right?
Oh no! Oh no! Terrifying. It's terrifying. Because then you accidentally disconnect yourself from the call to
You are
speak.
disconnected from this mortal coil.
I was. It was absolutely horrifying, filled with very large mosquitoes who tried to eat me, and successfully would have had I not exploded, I think. So.
When in doubt, explode.
Yes.
All right. So I'll do a quick introduction first again. Reintroduction. My name is Matthew. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew A. Siebert. You can find me here on twitch.tv/wearenerdsmith on Thursdays. Though probably not for the rest of this month. I think we're going to take August off. Normally I'm hosting No-Brainer Trivia on Thursday evenings, where we do some fun bar trivia. You can find the VODs on this channel and also on our YouTube page. Same with Homebrew Studio, where I create some fun homebrew tabletop content with the help of the Twitch chat. And you can also find me as the Dungeon Master for the Land Above podcast if you head over to nerdsmith.org and check that out. Tessa, would you please reintroduce yourself and tell people where they can find you on the interwebs?
Hello everybody, I am Tessa. I played the late Marguerite. You can find me in a variety of places on the interwebs. You can find me on Tuesday nights playing Cassandra on Goonies in Urban Shadows. You can find me... Yes. At some point in the near future, we'll be able to hear me on In Vain Blood Rush, where I am the storyteller for the Vampire the Masquerade system. Unfortunately, it's coming out a little later than we'd anticipated because somewhere in there I have to move. So it's a little hard to record when you're also in the middle of packing and everything else. So at some point in the near future, that will be coming out. There is also another project in the works which will be coming out after I move. It's also another Powered by the Apocalypse game, which will be coming soon to Nerdsmith. As soon as there's maybe 2 other people in this call that might be part of that project as well. At some point.
My. It must be.
Maybe.
It must be.
Years. So, yeah. So that's where you can find me on the internet or on Twitter at Sulky Dreams.
Awesome. Thank you, Tessa. And Rev, please reintroduce yourself and tell people where they can find you on the interwebs.
I am Rev. I am the host and GM of The Crit Show, which is an actual play podcast where we play Monster of the Week and other Powered by the Apocalypse games, all within the same dimension-hopping narrative. We also make Let's Plays for a lot of small publishers that do Powered by the Apocalypse and Fate core games. And you can find all of that at thecritshowpodcast.com. And you can find me on Twitter at RevDeshane.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Rev. And Angela, please tell people who you are and where they can find you.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I got a line from Muppet Christmas Carol stuck in my head when Tessa went first. It was like, and Tessa, who did not die, and it just made me laugh.
If only.
I'm Angela. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me all over the internet at darling_gypsum. I am a GM on Shenanigans right now. I'm guest GMing, usually one of the cast for Shadows of Vale, which is our Urban Shadows game that I'm running, a little mini campaign. So that's on Tuesdays. And you pretty much find me here on Nerdsmith all the time. I run Discover RPG on Wednesday, and I run community games in a Discord server. So if you come to the Discord server, maybe tomorrow you might be able to play Purplest Prose, which is a trashy RPG about trashy writers writing trashy romance. So if anybody wants to play in a GM-less game where we all crowd source a crappy romance novel, please join us.
I'm so excited for that.
We are constantly playing new small indie games and highlighting them and promoting the authors so that smaller creators can get a little bit of face time for some much deserved work. And I also host Nerdsmith Sings Our Heart Out on Fridays for charity. So just come find us.
Hooray.
Just come on. Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. And finally, Jay, who are you and where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm Jay. I also realized I forgot to say at the beginning, Robin was the antiquarian. So my ability was I had a lot of stuff, a lot of really old stuff.
Or in my house.
I'm on Twitter at J with 2 Y's, TXT. I don't post super often, but I post art and stuff there. I'm a contributing artist at Nerdsmith, so I'm on the Discord server. And I'm involved in some stuff that's being planned, worked on, some things. Yeah, that will be out at some point. I'll post
Fantastic.
updates on Twitter.
All right. Thank you, players, so much for joining me on this little mystery. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you, everyone in the audience, for coming and hanging out and playing. Hopefully you enjoyed our tale of monsters and mosquitoes. And until next time, I will simply say, please take care of yourselves and one another. If you're going outside, be responsible, wear a mask, socially distance, drink your water, eat your veggies, and please be good to yourselves. Take care, everybody.